What's going on, guys? Alex here with Daniel.
Let's go.
And this is your weekly fishing report. Now we're going to start off with rock fishing here. We're about to be in December. A lot of changes with rockfish. So as you guys know, it's a typical time of the year where a lot of these fish are just migrating south, pushing south as fast as they can, especially with water temperatures being in the low 50s now. I believe it's been like 51, 50 the past few days now. If there's any resident fish staying in the area, which there is, they're just going to hunker down pretty much on the bottom, sit on the edges of the channels, and they're just going to sit there for most of the day. And they do have time frames when they come up and they feed. They have to feed at some point, right? But if you're looking for that hot bite, if you want to call it that, or just the area where there's the highest concentration of those rockfish, I will say right now is going to be pretty much just south of the mouth of the chop tank, all the way down towards like past Solomon's. This is a typical time of the year when we get to December. We're fishing almost Breezy Point and down. And you're going to scan south. Typically, I like to go south from any of those areas or go south towards Solomon's and start working those edges. And you will find heavier concentrations of fish down there. And of course, the bait, bunker, etc. is doing the same thing. So they're going to be kind of following each other down. If you're willing to stay locally and try it out, I will kind of stick to the same places we always fish and just fish on like I will say the warmest point of the day. Fish on, incoming, outgoing tide. Just have some sort of movement, like the mouth of Eastern Bay, and just start bouncing metals on the bottom. Like we said, most of those fish are going to be kind of hunkering down on the bottom if they're resident fish, and they're just going to sit there. If you're fishing south, you control, jig, etc., you will find a heavier concentration of fish down there for sure. So push your way south if you can. Once again, mouth of the Patuxent, anywhere from Chesapeake Beach down, and the Potomac, the mouth of the Potomac will probably be a couple of those areas. As we get into later in December, of course, that becomes a hotter place to be. So just start checking those areas down there if you're willing to make a ride down there. What about perch, Daniel?
So perch, they're going to be moving into your deeper water, like 15 feet plus or so. If you're going to be going out there for them, you're going to use something like sabiki rigs, tipped with some bait like bloodworms, fish bites, anything like that. You want to be fishing your hard bottoms. Bay Bridge pilings are always a pretty good spot. Try that out. You should have some luck. Yeah,
and once again, pay attention to fish finder. When you're out there going for perch, a lot of times people don't recognize what perch looks like on your fish finder. Sometimes it looks like hard bottom, like a rock sticking out. Remember, they're all concentrated in one pile, so it looks just like a one big rock on the bottom, and that can be a big school of perch just sitting there.
Definitely.
As you're fishing for perch, you're going to encounter some of these black sea bass in the area. Now, there's a good amount of them. And for what we've seen and heard is that there's probably, you're catching 20 to 1, 20 shorts and 1 keeper. Keeper size is 13, I believe. So it's one of those things where be mindful of those fish. I mean, it's a new fishery and apparently take a long time to get to that size. So if you catch them in there, I'm not going to say you don't keep them, but just be mindful they take forever to get to that keeper size. But that's actually been pretty decent. And as we get to this colder month, they will also push probably a little bit deeper too. They're already a deep water fish, but slow down your presentation, meaning don't sit there and go too aggressive. That might help you get a couple more fish. Let's talk about the creeks and what's going on here.
Up in them creeks, you're going to be finding pickerel nowadays. You can go into the rivers like the Magathie, Severn, all good spots. Up in the creeks, you want to be looking for like docks, piers, flats up on the shoreline. The fish like to hang out in those areas, using small little paddle tails to catch them. Your 3-4 inch paddle tails. You can throw some stick baits as well, like your jerk bait, something like that's usually pretty good once once the water starts cooling down a bit. Stuff like that's always a good idea.
Yeah, and like Daniel said, this is a time of the year for pickerel as the water starts to cool down. And in my personal opinion, I will say this is probably the best time to catch numbers. If you're going out there and you want to have fun and catch multiple fish, this is the time. As we get later on, you'll catch the bigger ones, but probably less numbers depending on what area you're going to. And I will say, if you're looking for places to go, remember, in the central Maryland area here, your 3 rivers that have the highest numbers will be the Severn, the Magothy, and some creeks off the Patapsco. Doesn't mean that you won't catch them in the Severn, in the South River or Middle River area. There's just going to be way less fish. Now, there are some areas where you, some of those rivers down south where I never even heard of people trying to catch pickerel, or I haven't heard anything from some of those. So if you catch pickerel down in like the southern areas there, let us know, because as of now, this area is pretty much where you want to be, especially for you guys fishing locally. And if you want to adventure somewhere else, Eastern Shore is the way to go.
Definitely.
Every single body of water on the Eastern Shore will have pickerel, except for apparently White Mills.
Okay, yeah.
But most of anything like Tuckahoe Creek, the Upper Chop Tank, Upper Chester, every single pond besides the one we just spoke of will have pickerel. So if you want to make a little drive and have a field day with some freshwater fish, that will be the way to go.
Definitely.
And there's also yellow perch, right? Mixed in?
Yeah, yellow perch are up there too. They're in the creeks as well. You're gonna be throwing small little baits as well for those. You might even get them on your smaller pickerel baits too. So definitely look out for those. You'll find them schooled up. Same kind of areas like shallower water, like ends of docks, that kind of thing. It's usually where you find them.
And live minnows, guys. Remember, if you're trying to get anything out there right now on those creeks and you really know what you're doing, or even if you just want to hang out, put a minnow or a bobber, throw it out, and just relax. You will catch something with that. We have all kinds of rigs here for that type of fishing, and who doesn't love seeing a bobber go under?
Exactly.
It's the best thing. We all started that way. So besides that, ocean city fishing, you're going to be catching tog off the jetties, down on like the inlet in Ocean City and the Route 50 bridge. Same thing with your Indian River Inlet. A couple small sea bass, and of course you're still going to be catching some rockfish there. That's kind of like the name of the game down there. So tog, rockfish, and some little sea bass. If you're surf fishing Chesapeake, you still get a shot of a few of those migratory fish are starting to make their way down. We have seen small waves of big stripers come through Chesapeake and Chincoteague, so that means, hey, give it a shot, because if you don't try it, you won't know. So get out there, throw some cut, bunker, and just sit out and wait. And that's it for your fishing report, guys. We'll see you guys back next week.
See you guys.